Here are 5 common mistakes that beginner comedians make on the stand-up comedy stage, and number 5 is the most annoying one to me as a producer. Mistake number 1 is to comment on the bright, blinding spotlights on stage. If you haven't been on stage before, it's not obvious how bright those lights are. You won't be able to see it from the audience. Because of those bright spotlights, it's likely that you actually won't be able to see the audience except maybe for the first row. But don't say anything about the bright lights or the fact that you can't see the audience, because this is a meaningless statement from the perspective of the audience because they can see you just fine. So instead of commenting on the lights, just tell us your first joke. And if you want to get more comfortable, just try the stage before the show starts so that you know exactly how blinding those lights are. Mistake number 2 is to struggle with the mic stand on stage. And if you haven't used a microphone stand before, this is completely understandable. And as a result, you might be tempted to talk at the same time as you're fiddling with the microphone and the mic stand, but don't do this. Instead, approach the mic stand, grab the microphone from the stand, don't say anything at this point, move the stand aside, and then tell us your first joke. The pro tip here is to test the mic stand before the show starts so that you know what you're doing when you go on stage. We're going to cover 3 more mistakes in this video. If you want to learn everything you need to start doing stand-up comedy, check out my online class, Stand-Up Comedy for Beginners. Just go to comedyforbeginners.com. The link is also in the description below. Mistake number 3 is to hold the microphone too far or too close from your mouth. For most microphones of this type, the ideal distance is about 1 hand's width. If you hold the microphone too close to your mouth and speak with the same volume, you will experience distortion. And if you hold it too far, the audience won't be able to hear what you're saying. Here, the solution is simple. Just test the microphone before the show starts. Mistake number 4 is to ask questions to the audience when you don't know how to deal with the answer. I've talked about this before, but it is a big one. The absolute worst question you can ask is, "Can you hear me?" That's why you go to the mic check before the show starts, or you rely on the producer to adjust the volume accordingly. There's 2 places in the set where asking questions is almost always a mistake. One is at the very beginning of your set. Even if you ask a simple question like, "How are you guys doing?" you don't necessarily know how that is going to work out. For example, you don't know if the people will answer or not. You don't know how they will answer. Maybe some of them will start a conversation. Make it a rule to avoid questions at the beginning of your set. Asking those questions just feels like you're asking permission, and you never need permission on the comedy stage. The second place where you should definitely avoid questions is at the end of your set. When you are running out of time is not the right moment to start a conversation. Instead, finish on your best joke. There are good ways to ask questions, and I actually might make a separate video about that. Let me know in the comments if that would be interesting to you. Mistake number 5 is opening your set with something like, "This is my first time on the comedy stage. I'm a comedy virgin. Please be gentle." As a producer, as a comedian, I've heard that a million times, and you can do better than every other beginner comedian. Once again, it sounds like you're asking for permission. It sounds like you're asking for consent from the audience, and you don't need that. You are there to entertain them. So instead, start with high confidence, high energy. Start with one of your best jokes. If you avoid the 5 mistakes that I mentioned in this video, you'll be able to start strong and hook your audience in immediately. So far, we've been talking about mistakes in the beginning of your set, but there are also many mistakes that you could make at the end of your set. I covered those mistakes in my online class, Stand-Up Comedy for Beginners. Just go to comedyforbeginners.com to learn more, or use the link in the description below. And if you want more tips right here on YouTube, check out this video about proper microphone technique. Thank you very much for watching. Markus presents today, and I will see you in the next video.